Hi guys, Judy here, and I'm doing a Fallout costume. So I've already built my Pit Boy, but I'm building on a lot of accessories, so it won't just be the Jump Boy and Pit Boy, making armor and that. So I'm making a bunch of Nuka bottle caps to have with me while I'm walking around the convention and that, in a little purse or something. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put them in, but I'm making them anyway. So as you can see, I'm currently sanding off the logos off the bottle caps, which I raided from the Christmas party that we had. Didn't get as many as I'd hoped, but oh well. They're pretty easy to get hold of, so I just sanded off the logo so the paint had something to stick to, and it meant when I did the aging process later that none of the logos paint would show through when I sanded off some of the red paint that I'm going to be putting on later. I will say that this process takes a while to do, just purely on the fact that you have to repeat the same steps over and over and over again. Sanding off the logos, as I said, isn't necessary, so if you don't feel like it, feel free to go outside and just spray them with hail. I used a red spray paint, as you can see here, so I went outside and sprayed them. So now they're all sprayed and they're drying off because I couldn't leave them outside because it was raining on the day I decided. I printed out this template, and then I suggest cutting each bit into little squares and then cutting them out. It speeds up the process rather than trying to cut the circles out of the big sheet. You don't have to be really neat with it, but try and make sure you can keep a nice little edge around the Nuka sign. So I was just checking as they were dry, so I used this new super glue. It's by Gorilla. Never used it before. I quite like it, very strong smell though. So I literally just put glue in the middle of each bottle cap and then glued down the little logo onto each one. I will say that my logos weren't the same colour as the paint. They looked it on the screen, but my printer was running out of ink. So you go with what you have. So once again, it's just a case of repeating the steps and gluing down all the logos onto the bottle caps. I wasn't too concerned about getting all the edges flat. As you see later on, I will fix up any edges that are sticking up or things. So mainly what you want to focus on is just getting the logos into the right area and so now you can see that I'm going to go back onto each one and fix it. So I grabbed myself these little tweezer things I have, which just allowed me to pick up the edges that weren't fully stuck down. I added some glue onto the back of the paper this time instead of the bottle cap, and then used the tweezers to push it down until it had glued down. I was wearing gloves for the majority of this build as I had just painted my nails and I wanted to preserve that, but by the end you'll see I took off the gloves and just decided, screw it, get my hands dirty. The one in the corner you can see is I was testing out a few steps ahead of what I wanted to do, so I had sort of a reference point to go from, so that's why that one in the corner looks different to the ones I'm currently working on. once they had all been glued down properly, I got some clear nail varnish, just some standard top coat, and put 2 layers of that on each bottle cap to protect the Nuka Cola logo. One thing I will say, as you can see, it instantly made the red on the paper darker, which actually helped blend the 2 colours together. But it did make the white go a little bit pinky, so maybe if I did this again, I would use maybe a different type of printer just to help the colours not blur. So they look fine like that. You could keep them like they are now, but I wanted to age them. So I've got a very similar light red, it's one of those wall testing ones, and a bit of black acrylic, so then I could use a dark red and black. So all I'm doing is literally covering areas and then wiping it off, and later on you'll see I start wiping it off on my hands and just generally making it look dirty and nasty and like it's been bashed around a little bit. Don't be scared to go too dark or thing. You'll figure out very quickly how you like to do your weathering. I personally like a lot of things, and don't be an idiot and accidentally put the end of your paintbrush in the black paint like I just did, because it makes a terrible mess. So you just want to go around and age them all, and then after you've aged them all with the black, you want to sand them? Nope, apparently I'm not. Oh yeah, so I was going to do the sanding, but I decided that's the problem when I'm doing the audio thing afterwards. I decided to weather them all, so I added all the dark paint first. That one I didn't stick properly, so I just decided to rip off the sticker where it didn't glue properly and just cover it with black paint, make it look like it's been worn off. So you can see I'm mixing the red paint with the black to make sort of like this dark red browny colour as well. So there's a mixture of 3 different colours going onto each bottle cap. So now they're all aged up. This is probably when I decided to sand them. So I first of all started using the sandpaper I initially took the logo off with, but as you'll see in a minute, I open up a new pack and get a different type of sandpaper, which is a little bit more coarse and grainy than the fine sandpaper I was using, because just help take off the colour a little bit easier. You want to focus the sanding mainly around the edges, places where it would wear off naturally, where it takes up a lot of damage. So the middle really wouldn't take that much damage, the side would. As you can see, this is when I decided to open up the second packet, and both of them are 60 grain or something. I'm not sure, grit I think they call it. Both of them are 60, but this one is one designed for metals, so it's a lot more coarse than the one I was using. So I just cut off a piece and started going to work with that. This one I probably took a little bit too much of the red paint off, but the great thing about this sort of project is you can have ones that are barely touched, ones that are really decayed and really nasty. It really is up to you how you want, and you can have a lot of them. I also missed a few spots when I was spray painting them red, so they're bits I covered with black just to cover up the green from the actual original logo. said, this project is very simple to do, but it's very tedious just because of the amount of repeating steps that you have to do. When you do one, you have to do the other. The last step you can see here is I literally took a little bit of a damp cloth and just wiped over the Nuka Cola label to remove excess paint so you can see the logos. So then after that, they're all done and you got yourself some bottle caps.